There's everybody. There's Lynn Miller. Folks, this is big news with Charlotte. Bombshell. There's Crystal Davis, Roseanne. Hola, there's Jane Rice with her Team One bag. All right, so this is as big as it gets with the Charlotte Lester case. We're live. Un momento. One momento. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. Right now, it's 6 minutes past the hour. I want to welcome everybody in. This is the, as I call it, the Noon Report Live. And we want to welcome everyone that's also tuning in, part of our live simulcast that we do on Facebook. Find the page, John DePetro Show. We just surpassed 50,000. It's so exciting, folks. The Facebook people predict that sometime after Labor Day, we're going to be starting to rise above 60,000. So right now, it's the growth is remarkable. It's between 5 to 6,000 a month, and that will just get bigger. That's one of the benefits. There are some people in media that just do their regular personal page, but the problem is that that caps out at 5,000. So, we are so far above that. I mean, I do have a personal page that has whatever it has, 4,000 quote friends and other followers, but the show page is really the way to go. So, welcome everybody in. This is going to be a big program. This portion of the program of the John DePetro Show, and it's brought to you by PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Hey, listen, at some point, the sun is going to return, and that's why stop in and see them. This is a good week. Hey, get some things done. It's not ideal weather, but it's not raining right now. It's just cloudy, overcast a little bit. But they have wonderful vegetables and herbs, annuals, perennials, hangers, 10-inch, 12-inch moss baskets, 12-inch patio pots. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Tropical hibiscus, mandevilla plants. They have everything that you want, need for your property, for your yard. Father's Day is coming, great gifts, anything that you want to plant. I'm always big on, if you want to put up a fence, that's one thing, but a lot of times what you're looking to achieve can be accomplished with just proper planting. And it just makes for a nice border between you and, your neighbor, what have you, or nice privacy, whatever it is. PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. They have it all. 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. Look for them. Look for them on Facebook. Now, speaking of, well, not speaking of, but DePetro.com. All right, everyone's buzzing about the story that we have up right now. We have more details about the Johnston killer than anybody else. And all of the stuff you're seeing now, it all depends. Some people say, I'd rather wait, whatever it is, 6 months from now, a year from now, to wait till everything comes out. That's fine. If you're like me, I like to know things in real time. I have an appreciation for people that tell me something I don't know, and I have an appreciation for people that that tell me new information in first. And you get all that at the website, depetro.com. It's all right there. Now, we're going to have a very special Charlotte Lester update on the website, depetro.com, coming later today. But check out the website, brought to you by the Coesit Inn, 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick. Lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge. The place is golden, the Coesit Inn. Now, before I tell you about the Charlotte Lester, and it's a bombshell. This is there's different levels of things. This is the missing woman. By the way, I am also going to talk about that New York attorney, 35 years old, Matthew Nilo, that was arrested. He was in Weehawken, New Jersey. I know right where that is at the Lincoln Tunnel. But they believe was a serial rapist in the Boston area, 2007, 2008. It's a fascinating case. It's in its infancy. Right now, I have the top video on TikTok talking about it, but I'm going to talk about that coming up. But I want to mention our condolences go out, folks. We enjoy, the good times, but then we also enjoy there are things that people leave us. And our condolences go out to the family. And I heard from the daughter, Peter Anthony Chavone passed away. A huge fan of the program. One of his lovely children reached out to me, and I knew the name of Peter, and he has had a life that was very similar in some ways from my dad. Graduated from LaSalle Academy, attended Providence College. He then, well, not so much the law school, but was an attorney. And just on top of that, big sports fan, but wonderful man. And our condolences go out to his daughter and also his son, and then also their grandchildren and the family. So the funeral was, excuse me, is the funeral was happening yesterday, as a matter of fact. And so I did want to pass along the condolences. But Peter, as his daughter shared, was a big fan of the program, appreciated, what I brought to the table, so to speak, and he will be missed. A life certainly well lived. Now, speaking of lives well lived, it's tough to underestimate. I'm going to go as far as saying that I believe, and as someone that, as many of you know, have followed this case, is close, if anything. I mean, as many of you know, we do more than just um, we don't just cover a story; we investigate a story. And when I say we, because it's not just me. There's people that I depend on, people that I work with. And the Charlotte Lester case is definitely one of those. Now, in fairness, I've had people say, oh, Juan, you're just upset because that guy attacked you. All right, true. But that happened in August. We were all over this case from the outset. And frankly, I don't understand media that have decided to skip it. Maybe because I've been all over it. But anyhow, there's a page on Facebook. Charlotte Lester went last seen May 16th. It was a Monday night of last year, right in the Apponaug section of Warwick. So, as some of you may know, we started some searches, started Memorial Day. There were two more searches after that. We live streamed them. We've broken different parts of the story. I reposted, because we have so many new people on the page, I reposted a video of myself and Ladybug when we were attacked by the goon. But there's a Facebook page that sprung up. Help us find Charlotte Lester. And you're not going to see this in the media, but it's wildly significant. It is. And I can't even, I talked about last night the case because, as I have told you, I still feel very confident that through the investigative work of the Warwick Police, that there will be resolution here, that people will be held accountable. But I want to share with you because a lot of people, there's no lack of interest, but I admit it gets harder to get new information. It gets harder to bring you new information. But here's what they posted this morning, that they want to clarify recent statements made by press and others. And they write, and I'm reading verbatim. So I know the Perkins legal people watch what everything I say, but I'm reading right off the page. So I'll just say from the outset, if the Perkins people want to go after it, and go after the family and friends of Charlotte Lester. But they write, our investigation without a doubt tells us she is not capital missing. Charlotte was a victim of domestic violence at the hands of Mark Perkins, the owner of the house that was a crime scene for 1 month. She is not missing. Now, that is the first time you have seen in print the Charlotte Lester family stating that Charlotte Lester was a victim of domestic violence at the hands of Mark Perkins. That without this is the first time it's been printed. Now, I also want to clarify the missing person case. I know that people that follow it and have spoken to the Warwick police will say it's a missing person case. Because I know of people that have asked them and said, "Are you investigating that as a murder?" And what do they say? They say, "No, it's a missing person." But I, it, that is, that is true. It's a little bit of threading the needle there. But as they said at the vigil and as they're speaking out, um, I'm not going to say I get angry, but there are people that will sometimes, not all, but sometimes post and say that that in fact that well, we hope that she will be returned to her family, and obviously that's not going to happen. So I like to dispel any of that type of verbiage. I know sometimes people don't know what to say, so they say it's something inappropriate, but that's not happening. So now they continue, and I'm going to read right off the page. We try to understand that legally, people reporting on the case feel the need to say it's still a missing persons case. However, all evidence categorically shows her life was taken. Any misconception or false statements made by press or any other person indicating Charlotte is missing or willfully missing is an injustice and absurd. And I want to deal with that directly because I've had people falsely say, "Oh, I don't blame that guy, Perkins with the orange ski mask for attacking you, standing in front of his house calling him a murderer." I Anyone that says that has no idea what they're talking about. I've never done that, and I've repeatedly thrown in that it is a missing person case. But I understand totally the family saying her life was taken and misconceptions of false statements. It also really hard hits at the Channel 12 story. That with Channel 12 almost set the investigation backwards by saying, "Oh, it's wide open with a lot of different suspects." That was completely false. Um, Now, I want to go back to the Charlotte Lester page about her missing that states, "Because her body has not been found yet, does not mean that the person responsible cannot be indicted, charged, and found guilty." And I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. I recognize that some people say that um, no body, no crime, but that's not true. There have been instances of that, and so therefore, the people that tend to put a lot of those statements, there's no skin in the game. They just say anything because they're not fully vested in the story. I want to go back to, when Buddy Cianci went on trial for Operation Plunderdo, right? I was down the dial with Arlene and Imus, and then you add the Cianci suck ups on, with Pork Boy and the like, and pretty much verbatim, the whole slew of them, Captain Cliche, Saint Pierre, the cast man, Pork Boy, here's what they would say: he's never going to be indicted, and then he was indicted. Okay, but it'll never go to trial, and then it did go to trial, and then what would they say? Okay, but he's never going to be found guilty. Then he was found guilty. All right, but it's going to be on appeal. He's never going to jail, and then he did go to jail, and they just keep moving the line because they're just clueless blowhards that don't know what they're talking about. All right, but he's not going to stay. It was never appealed successfully. He remained in prison. So you have people like that always throw that out. But then they have no skin in the game. Now, I want to get back to what the page, which is family and friends of Charlotte Lester, help us find Charlotte Lester, what they posted. This was this morning. It's very significant. I already got two messages from people. I checked the Channel 10 website. There's nothing about this. Gee, no way. You're kidding me. They missed it? That's so unusual. I just checked the Providence Journal. They don't have, I don't know what to tell you. If you want to say hello to 1988 for those of you that are still living in the 80s here. So, but I go back to, they write, without a doubt, our family knows this is significant. Mark Perkins was the last person with Charlotte based on our lengthy and detailed investigation. And that can't be stressed enough. Mark Perkins was this is according to the family, last person with her when she was alive. Without outlining our independent investigation, separate from the police. In short, Perkins gave two different stories about when he last saw Charlotte. He told his brother and sister-in-law he hadn't seen her for a week before she went missing, but told two other people he was with her the day she went missing. So which is it? How would you get that wrong? That's not casual. How would you get that wrong? Now, again, I posted the audio of that, some of it, on the website, DePetro.com. They go on to write, keep in mind, now this is brand new. This is brand new. This is brand new that is on Facebook. And here's a spoiler alert. You're not going to hear it down the dial. You're not going to read it in the Providence Journal, and you're not going to see it on 10 and 12. Well, I think, what did somebody say? I'm pretty sure that Frank Coletta retired from Channel 10. Well, Doug White passed away. What are you talking about? These people are no longer alive. Some of you people are living in the past. Well, I'm going to wait for Walter Cryan to report it to me. Walter Cryan retired from Channel 12 20 years ago. Ugh, this is significant. Hold on. I'm going to come back to this. It's important, but I'm going to come back to it because I have to stay on schedule. Folks, right now, you're going to want to hear this, and then I'm going to talk about this case out of Boston. I think it's very, very interesting. This portion of the program is brought to you by Unique Health. Instead of wasting thousands, gym or fad diets, learn the exact foods to target stubborn fat. Unique Health. Call Sandra. Now, they are on Facebook. I share their Facebook page. Let me ask you this. What would your life be like if you suddenly, before the 4th of July, you were down 20 pounds, 25 pounds, 50 pounds? It's up to you. It's not a diet change. It's a lifestyle change. They're right in Warwick. They're across from Kent County Courthouse. Don't say you don't have time to work out. This is your health you're talking about. It's so sad when you see people get older. And here's another spoiler alert. You don't see people obese in their 90s. You actually don't see people obese in their 80s. Think of your children. Think of your grandchildren. Think of your quality of life. Well, that's just the way God made. No, wrong. Jesus was thin. The apostles were thin. They worked out. They walked a lot. They ate fish. They had fun. They had wine. But no, wrongo. No, God doesn't want. God is putting Unique Health in your life. I don't have time to work out. Listen, we're talking about a free seminar. And we're talking, it's not a diet change, it's a lifestyle change. If you were 50 pounds lighter, 25 pounds lighter, you're going to feel better. You're going to sleep better. You're going to look better. You're going to, you meet people and how many people? You see them hiding behind someone in a photo because they don't want to show what their body. It doesn't have to be that way. This could be the best summer of your life. Unique Health. Call today, 401-269-9155. Free seminar. Again, if you can't remember the phone number, I'm going to share their page on Facebook. It's Unique Health. And you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. They have another free seminar coming up, Sustainable Weight Loss, Unique Health. All right, I want to get back to, and this is very significant, the people that post, the family and friends. help us find Charlotte Lester. This is very, very significant, what I'm about to tell you right now. And no one has ever seen this in print before. Now, I shared it, but I think a lot of people don't fully understand the significance of it. But what they wrote, keep in mind, Mark Perkins admitted Charlotte's blood was found on the wall above his bed. Now, that's even news to me. This is the first time you're hearing it. I want to repeat. You have, according to their family and friends, that Mark Perkins admitted her blood was found on the wall above his bed. Now, I knew they found her blood on the wall. I didn't know he had admitted that. So even I'm learning things here. They go on. Therefore, it only follows if Perkins was the last person with her, and in his words, her blood was on the wall above his bed, it suggests blood had to be on his bed, hence the reason why he got rid of the mattress. So let's go. You know what they're saying here. You have a bedroom. Here's the bed. According to them, Perkins admits that's her blood on the wall above the bed. And then you look and it's a brand new mattress. Where's the old mattress? Gives inconsistencies. This is so blockbuster. After all, they write, why would he discard a relatively new mattress? Why would he lie to his family? They go on to write, for the record, Perkins never cooperated or talked to the police. Now, Perkins' attorney, after he attacked me in Ladybug, his attorney posted he fully cooperated with police. Here's the family saying he never cooperated or talked to the police. From last being with Perkins, Charlotte is nowhere to be found. No friends or family have been contacted by her since the day she was last at his house with her, and she never walked out his door. No phone calls, no texts, no emails, no financial movement. All evidence consistent with being deceased and not missing capitals. From basic investigative techniques to modern technology and advanced electronic investigative techniques, including cell phone forensics, call analysis, video surveillance cameras, and DNA, all provides great evidence that support cases such as this. Now, they go on to write, Brian Walsh, Cohasset husband, Alec Murtaugh, among others, are and or have been indicted, charged, and convicted murder with or without body. Domestic murderers are found guilty with the use of these and other modern investigative technology, which heavily contributed to successful prosecutions in these very public trials. Each day in the U.S., 3 women are murdered by current or former intimate partners. Charlotte was one of these women. I want to repeat that. You know, I said this last night. Where are the domestic violence groups silent on the story? Each year, people like Mark Perkins are convicted of domestic murder/homicide, even without a body. They go on to write, please remember, there is no statute of limitations on murder. And with today's technology, a body is not needed to indict, charge, or convict a domestic murderer. I want to come back to. Now, I believe the most significant part of this posting on the page, and I shared it, so it's public. So let's be really clear. Channel 10 could do a story on this if they wanted to. Channel 12 could do a story on this if they chose to. The Boston Globe, Providence Journal, Channel 6, blah, blah, blah. Let's see if they do. Spoiler alert. But I want to go back to what this business about. He admitted to getting rid of the mattress. He gave 2 different stories about it. Perkins admitted to getting rid of the mattress. Perkins gave 2 different stories as to when he got rid of his mattress, a mattress that he purchased less than a year before getting rid of the mattress. He stated to his brother and sister-in-law he got rid of mattress right before Charlotte went missing, but told our private investigator and at least one other person he got rid of it right after she disappeared. That is significant. How do you not keep that straight? And let's just back up for a second. So let's remember, who is it that broke the story about the mattress in the media. That would be the chosen one. That was me that broke through investigation that he had gotten rid of the mattress and they were searching for the mattress. That is why he attacked me in front of his, across the street from his house on the street in last August, was because his life was turned upside down when I broke the news about the mattress. And it led him to rage. And it led him to uncontrollable rage. His attorney put out a statement that I have made his life living hell, blah, blah, blah. But the real story that his own attorney, Calcagni, that he has not fully completed is the reason why was the reporting about the mattress made Perkins feel like the walls were closing in. So now think about that. I'm going to come back to this in just a moment, but I do want to stay on schedule, folks. Right now at 12:30, excuse me, on this Tuesday, and it's very significant. I want to repeat, I do believe there will be an arrest in this case. I do. I think the family coming right out, and there's no hedging here. They're pointing the finger right at Mark Perkins, and they're putting it squarely at him, and they're using language and revealing evidence that we have not seen before in this. And I want to touch on that. But this portion of the program is brought to you by AtMed Urgent Care. Now remember, if you have an emergency, two locations, Atwood Avenue in Johnston, in the Atwood Medical Center, and 5750 Post Road, East Greenwich, AtMed Urgent Care. Two locations, doctors and nurses for all your medical needs, whatever it is, or testing. When I have gone in there and why did I go there? I needed urgent care. AtMed, ATMED, AtMed Urgent Care, cost efficient healthcare alternative to hospital based emergencies. And as I've said, it's just faster. They both times saw me in less than 30 minutes. If you go to wherever, pick an emergency room, you're just waiting. AtMed Urgent Care, they'll see you right away. I want to come back to the Charlotte Lester case. This is really significant. Let's think about what the family is putting out there. And they're putting out a lot of information that we have never seen before. Where there's no hedging the bet here. They are putting out some very pertinent information that Perkins was the last person with her. When was she last seen alive? Who was the last person to see her alive? Does he have an alibi? But the element of admitting that's her blood on the wall above his bed. If we went into your home, would we find your blood on the wall? I don't know. It's possible someone would say, yeah, I have blood on my wall. I don't think so. Think of where we've talked about blood in the home. Someone said, well, maybe they found it in the bathtub. Now, again, there was some kind of relationship where she was in and out of the house. The neighbors knew who she was. She was known to frequent the home on Staples Avenue. But let's come up with some easy one. She, whatever, cut her hand, needed a Band-Aid. So if you find it, is it possible there could be some droplet of blood, I don't know, somewhere in the home? Normally you would think in a bathroom. Maybe if someone was shaving their legs, which women do, maybe then you'd find some blood, particularly maybe in a tub or around a sink. Think of when you're even putting on a Band-Aid and you're bleeding. Most normal people, you would be in one of two places, either a kitchen or a bathroom. So there's blood on the wall above the bed. Okay, now I'm reading this. This tells me what's new about this to me is that they're saying he admitted that was her blood. I didn't know that. But this also tells me that let's play that out a little bit. Because it all comes back to, I want to remind people, and I know we have some new people, and I get it, you're busy, you're not fully up on the story, but it comes back to the Warwick police had to show some evidence to a judge to be able to be on this house for a month. And I want to remind people, he wasn't allowed inside the house. The entire house was a crime scene. I'd never seen anything like it. We interviewed police, they'd never seen anything like it. We interviewed, if you go to Johnston, that house where the killer was, is no longer a crime scene. I'm at a crime scene almost every day. The yellow tape starts going up, and it's a blocked off crime scene. It was a full month with the work police, but we'll speak with our legal analyst, attorney Tim Dodd, later in the week. But to me, and I don't know this, but if you're going to a judge and you have a missing person case, where was she last seen? Headed towards this house. Who was the last one to see her alive? Mark Perkins. Okay. Um, and then truck is missing, dog is missing, but there's blood, her blood on the wall in the bedroom. Okay. So naturally you would think, let's look either on the rug or floor, or let's look on the bed. Oh, it's a brand new mattress. Oh, where's the old mattress? He gives different stories of where the old mattress is. To me, that's pretty compelling. To me, and again, without knowing the evidence the work police have, this would tell me this is why police were able to sit on that house for a month. That's why then they also did dig up the septic system. And we don't know if they found anything, what they found, but that is very significant. This would explain, it's so odd. Why would he give two different stories? He tells someone he got a new mattress after she was dead. He tells his family he got it, and I know exactly where he got it on Bald Hill Road. He tells his family he got it the Sunday before she went missing Monday. Why would you be wrong? Like, this is important. This isn't, by the way, this isn't from 5 years ago. This isn't from I don't remember, right? Like, it was so long ago. I don't remember. This is in real time. You're you're answering the question differently of something pretty, you would remember. If you got rid of a couch in your home, right? Let's just say this week, maybe you're going to put it out at the curb. We put it out Tuesday night because collection's Wednesday or what have you. But my point is, you'd kind of be able to remember when you got rid of the couch and what you did with the couch. Oh, you got rid of the couch. Yeah, what'd you do with it? I don't remember. Don't remember what you did with the couch. No, that's kind of hard to, throw away. So you don't remember no, don't remember what you did with the old mattress? No. Now, I'm not saying he said he didn't remember. I'm not saying that. But you would want to lock that down and go, here's the old mattress. I got a new mattress and blah, blah, blah. Nope. No answers about that. Well, this business of the blood on the wall above the bed is very, very significant. And a couple things about this. I don't know. I think, and I don't want to knock, because the media did go to the vigil. There was good coverage on that, and obviously not as in depth as I have done, right? And I understand that they're doing different things, but I still don't understand when you had, think about this just for a moment. You had a Cranston city councilman who who was caught, found in a parking lot on Pontiac Avenue at a beauty salon, and he was unconscious or asleep or whatever with a crack pipe in his hand, right? The Cranston city councilman who got caught with a drug and drugs, and which are, by the way, are going to be legal with McKee, but anyway, crack, fentanyl, heroin, all going to be legal under Governor McKee. But Cranston city councilman, and the media was not only going to his house, they were questioning his mother on where he was. So let's just put this in perspective. That was a councilman who having some kind of a problem and passed out, not driving, by the way, not driving like Bacchus, not swinging at police, Matt Riley, but passed out, cooperated with police, woke him up, and then took him into custody. So media was knocking on his door. Notice with Mark Perkins, that's the last place she was seen alive. You saw what a nutcase and how violent he was attacking myself and Ladybug. Notice this is a murder we're talking about, homicide. And no media have knocked on his door. The most aggressive they got was he was held overnight, and the next day he had to go to court. They brought him in, and then the media was questioning him when he left court. But you don't see any of that. You don't see any ambush. You don't see cameras rolling. You don't see. I'm not knocking the investigative people of television, but if you have a city worker that brings a lawnmower home to cut his lawn, it's, people are in disguise. They got the secret cameras going. They pull the ambush on him, right? Hey, so and so. Yeah, here I am from whatever, I-Team, Target 12, Hummel Report. But oh, is that a lawnmower? But big ambush on a guy cutting his lawn. Have you seen any reporter other than myself knocking on the door? Have you seen any reporter even attempting to engage the guy in conversation in any way? And when I did, all I kept asking was, where's Charlotte? You were the last one to see her alive. Why won't you sit down and answer questions with the family? And what did just the mere questioning do to that guy? It put him into a murderous rage. He wanted to kill me. He wanted to kill Ladybug. And as I've told you, when the Warwick police went into the house to grab him and arrest him, and then he pretended he had whatever, said he blacked out and didn't remember anything from 10 minutes earlier, they found a hatchet in his bedroom. Yeah, because that's a normal object to have, right? A hatchet in your bedroom. It's not like a huge house. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show is brought to you by Falcon Pest Services. Call today, 401-739-1322. This is the time of year. Now listen, you can have a pest problem all year round. But Falcon Pest Services, they are the terminator of terminators, termites, bed bugs, ants, roaches, mice, rats, mosquitoes, many other pests. Falcon Pest Services, locally owned and operated. John and Kelly are the real deal. Now, if you're listening right now and you're thinking, you know of someone that needs a job, has experience in this field, they're a tremendous company to work for. You're joining an award-winning team. Falcon Pest Services. Maybe it's once a year. Maybe it's once a month. Maybe it's once a quarter. Maybe it's just once. But call Falcon Pest Services today. Get rid of those pests. 401-739-1322. You want to see ants run? Watch what ants do when the Falcon truck pulls up in front. Roaches, mice, rats, mosquitoes. Falcon Pest Services, 401-739-1322. Folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. And I want to be very clear. This is the most aggressive language the Charlotte Lester family has used. Make no mistake about it. One of the benefits of why I really go into overdrive with a story, one of the reasons why that when a story hits that I like to really get into the story is because the benefit of that I have found is when there's a new development that the story so much that you recognize that it is a new development. It's not like that. If you're a casual, that's why I do what I flood the zone, which is I want to make sure when a story hits that I know that no one knows more about the story than I do, at least in the media. I mean, obviously the police know more and the Attorney General's office knows more, but I'm saying with the media. So one of the reasons I do it is I consume the story. That's the only way, because then when there's a new development, You know the story so well, you know when it's a new development. Many times there are significant stories, but people that casually follow it, they don't recognize when there's something very significant that happens. This is significant. This is significant. The fact that they're saying that Charlotte Lester was a victim of domestic violence at the hands of Mark Perkins, that's the first time we've seen that. This is the first time you've seen that they've identified that Mark Perkins was the last person with Charlotte Lester. That's the first time I've seen that in print. This is the first time you've seen it spelled out that he gave two different accounts when the last time he saw her. This is the first time you've seen anything about when he told people he had last seen her, and then it comes back to the blood and the mattress. So I'm telling you that this is major. This is major. In just the terminology and the way that they are describing Mark Perkins. This is a new chapter in the story. And I understand their frustration. I think the family has been tremendous. I think the family, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's so cruel when someone just disappears. It's just so cruel to the family. I've talked about it in the past. I interviewed John Foreman. I worked with the Foreman family to keep Michael Woodmansee locked up. Um, you know, I learned so much about that. That was 7 years their life went on hold. That was 7 years they couldn't go on vacation. It led to divorce. It led to alcoholism. Every time the phone rings, they think it's an update on little Jason Foreman. Every time, and I know some people almost use a cliche like the family wants closure, but there's just an element of it. It's so cruel that someone is quote just still missing. It just permeates everything. The Foreman family, if you remember the Jason Foreman case, and then it turned out it was a neighbor down the street, Michael Woodmansee. But what that did to them, they couldn't go anywhere. Every time they saw a car come down the street, maybe that's someone with news. Every time they saw a car pull in their driveway, or a doorbell ring, or knock at the door, a phone ring, or mail. I mean, it was just sheer torture until police finally, got into that Woodmansee house and then found some of the remains of poor little Jason Foreman who was there the whole time. So I think the family of Charlotte Lester, they have just been really remarkable in the way they've handled themselves, the way they have kept this in the spotlight. I've obviously become very friendly with them. I admire them. This is not easy on her mom, on her brother. um, there's, there needs to be justice here. There does. There absolutely does. Folks, this portion of the program brought to you by Ryan's Appliance Repair. Call today, 401 710 7096. 401 710 7096. It's Ryan's Appliance Repair. Ryan, I tell the story. How did I first get to know him? Well, it was a Saturday morning. Juan's like, yeah, I'll help out around the house. I'll do a wash and put it in the dryer. And, I may have not have done it properly. Maybe I didn't use the spin cycle properly. It's very, very possible. So the clothes were extra heavy. And then what happened was it blew a belt. So, and I remember I called a friend and he's like, well, sometimes those things give out. I said, it's old. It's not that old. And then I had another friend who was like, well, do you want to try to fix it? Or I'm like, I wouldn't. Yeah, yeah, are you talking to someone else? Like, are you kidding me? No, I don't know how to fix it. I'm going to call Ryan. Ryan's Appliance Repair, 401 710 7096. He was like, Juan, I'll be there this afternoon. Came in. He wasn't showing off, but 10 minutes, he fixed it. And then he fixed the refrigerator. Then he fixed the washing. No, the washing machine was always fine. It was the dishwasher. Ryan's Appliance Repair. Don't have a broken appliance. 401 710 7096. Yeah, your son in law is going to come over and fix it. It's not happening. Call Ryan, 401 710 7096 for Ryan's Appliance Repair. So later I will have more on the um, the story about Charlotte Lester. And I want to once again, emphasize that that is a major development with the story, with the pointed language that the family of Charlotte Lester There's no way to mistake some of the things they're saying. Um, I'm almost curious to think, I wonder if his attorney, excuse me, Mark Perkins' attorney, and by the way, my case against him still continues, felony assault, even though they keep trying to delay it. But but I mean, I don't know. I'd be surprised. I'd be curious if some member of the media, other than just myself, would go and knock on that door in Staples and say, "We want to ask you some questions." But there's two cases in Massachusetts, and we are going to talk about this with our legal expert, attorney Tim Dodd. One is rape trial begins for Boston attorney, previously acquitted on sexual assault charges. That's just beginning. But I started talking about this. This case is, to me, this is like something out of an episode of Law and Order or Netflix. But Charlestown serial rape case. Prosecutors describe how an attacker lured victims. Matthew Nilo, he was in court yesterday. Rape charges, Suffolk Superior Court, stemming from assaults in Charlestown, 2007, 2008. This story is so fascinating to me because it shows and several things. Number one, when they were able to get the proper technology, how they were able to solve cases. That's number one. Number two, in Rhode Island, Attorney General Peter Nerona. Now he's getting some of the money for those cold case units that he needed and wanted. Who was standing in the way of that? Governor McKee, every criminal's best friend. But this story in the Globe, the pattern was similar in each attack. The assailant lured women into his car downtown Boston, drove them into a peninsula in Charlestown, threatened them with weapons, and raped them. So, new DNA-based investigative techniques help police link a spate of unsolved sexual assaults from 2007, 2008 to a New York lawyer, Matthew Nilo, 35. So they grabbed him last week, I think last Thursday, at his New Jersey apartment building in Weehawken. Nilo, wearing handcuffs, blue prison garb, pled not guilty. How about his fiancés in the courtroom clutching rosary beads? Now he has a very strong attorney, Joseph Cataldo. He represented that nutcase Carter. I remember that case. But anyhow, so they lay out. This goes back to Charlestown rapes, 2007, separate nights. One was looking for a car. Another one thought he was a taxi driver. Third one, panhandler, pushes her into the car, August 08. What I think interesting was this guy was going to college out of town. And the attacks, the rapes, coincide with, it was August and then it was November. It was August and then it was December. So now I believe they're also investigating and looking for women around where this nutcase went to college. But police revisited unsolved sexual assaults. They received a 2.5 million federal grant to investigate cold cases. What I also find interesting is the amount of money that Governor McKee has blown through COVID money, right? Millions in bonus checks and everything else. He could have used money like this to provide to our attorney general, our law enforcement, to solve some of these cases. It's not your imagination. The guy is just he is just the worst governor. I can't believe the damage he's about to do over the next several years. I mean, but notice the speaker and the Senate president gave Nerona the extra money. Governor McKee does nothing to make your life better. Governor McKee makes nothing to make your life safer. Never weighs in. You know, the state is a drunk driving mess. He won't fund special investigations. He is there's no the guy is about as useless as can be. And what also I want to mention, of course he's best friends with Pork Boy. I mean, of course they're best friends. Talk about birds of a feather, right? I mean, there's no bigger loser than Pork Boy. The guy is just a big fat zero. So of course he's friendly with McKee. Now, where Pork Boy's protected is the station he's on is so fearful of McKee They just keep him on the air and let it. But this situation in that is happening in Boston, and what I find really interesting is they started surveilling him in the New York area. Investigators collected DNA from drinking cups and utensils. They watched him at a corporate event and then grabbed them. If you've ever seen Breaking Bad, Hank did that. Hank did that with Gus Fring, that found his fingerprints inside Gail Benneker's apartment, and then quickly put it into a bag once after he had touched the cup. Can I get you a refill? To Hank, and then he was also with Junior. So, but when they analyzed it, I mean, we'll find this sounds pretty solid to me. But authorities are asking, and they're going to look into other unsolved sexual assaults and rapes that happened in and around when this guy would then disappear. He went away to college and then he went to law school. But one of the attacks was December 23rd, 2008, and she poked him in the eye. And from that glove, they got his DNA. This Matthew Nilo, former North End resident, graduated University of Wisconsin-Madison, also graduated Boston Latin School, graduated college in 2010. So he would have been in college at the time. He ends up going to law school. He's then an attorney in the New York area. And then suddenly, through new DNA abilities and capabilities and testing, they pin him, 35 years old, newly engaged, as a serial rapist from the Charlestown area. I think it's a fascinating case. I think it's one of those things you will see. It's like something on, as I said, Law and Order or Netflix special. Next Monday is the bail hearing, so they put a bail at 500,000. So now who knows? Maybe with his family and he is an attorney making money, he come up with it. But otherwise, the trial is next June of 24. Folks, this portion of the John DePetro Show is brought to you by Limitless Outdoors. Call them today. Remember their slogan, Dream, Build, Enjoy. Limitless Outdoors, 401 580 1852. 401 580 1852. Limitless Outdoors. Get a free quote. They specialize in patios, walkways, steps, outdoor kitchens, landscape lighting, retaining walls, lawn installation, excavation. Limitless Outdoors. They can update your indoor fireplace. Why not have an outdoor kitchen? Why not have an outdoor fireplace or fire pit or a beautiful patio that you can enjoy 6 to 9 months? Depending on the weather, maybe 12 months a year. Limitless Outdoors. It all starts, though, with a free quote, free conversation. Let them come to your property. Chris, they're based right in Smithfield. Remember their slogan, Dream, Build, Enjoy. Limitless Outdoors, because it's limitless what they can do. 401 580 1852. How about a nice patio that you could have that has an outdoor kitchen, has an outdoor flat screen TV? Limitless Outdoors. Call today, free quote, 401 580 1852. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show on AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. We will be doing Facebook Live later. I also want to remind people, and I played it in the first hour, and I'll play it last hour. To me, your children, people need to continue to talk about what this day means. And I mean Normandy, the invasion of Normandy, D-Day, an incredible day that changed the world. As Andy Rooney, and I played it last hour, I'm going to play it again next hour. He covered the war. I read his book, My War, Andy Rooney. He was actually a journalist. He hit the beaches of Normandy a couple days after the invasion. It's one of the most remarkable days. And I'm telling you that as a parent or grandparent, or this is a day you should make sure that younger people know what this day means, the significance of this day, because it's a day like no other. It is. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna break for the 1 o'clock news. Next hour, another full hour to go. Donna Perry joins us. You're going to hear Donna Perry talking about Tim Scott, about 2024, and also a lot more. And also Chris Sununu not running. Facebook Live later. Folks, another hour to go on the radio show, AM 1380, 99.9 FM, back on the other side after the 1 o'clock news.